Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is Malinger, to pretend or exaggerate incapacity or illness as to avoid duty or work. So like a little Ferris Bueller, a little playing hooky, things like that. Before I get into it, I just want to do a quick little announcement that this is the first solo episode of Design Diary in a long time. It's actually 1 year from the day that we started the podcast. And somewhere around the summer, we kind of fell off of the daily episodes and ended up doing a lot of the weekly ones with Rob Kramer. And it kind of fell off the track because, for me personally, it was Sprawlopolis, which is a button shy game, just kind of took over everything, all responsibility, and it kind of rode me through the rest of the year. So my goal I've been talking about it for probably about 2 months personally, is to restart on the anniversary. So January 15th, both my wife's birthday and the first episode of the show, we're back and trying to do this daily again. Getting back on the track with my design diary, which feels good. It felt great. So, talking about Malinger. And I should warn you that my chops are going to have to work their way back up. So, the first thing I wanted to say is that my brother always had to use the bathroom as soon as we finished playing a board game. Any game, ever. This is going back as far as I know. As soon as we finish the game, he jumps up, uses the bathroom while everybody else cleans up the game. I've never seen him clean up a game. Never seen him not go to the bathroom as soon as it's done. It doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes or an hour. He's out. So when I made the game Pretense, I made a card called the Maid that if somebody didn't help clean up the game, you could steal their card and things like that, directly based off of those experiences with him. So to me, that's the first thing that Malinger made me think of, especially in a gaming sense. So in trying to figure out how this could work, I kind of struggled a bit, and I came up with something that I'm happy with. It's super undeveloped, but it's a start, and it's sort of a stretch from Malinger. So I'm going to just read my notes. What is duty or work in a gaming sense? And I said, usually that's the fun of the game, is the work. You're working towards something great. Why would you want to avoid that? Kind of got stuck right there. And I thought about mechanics. Like, what is the calling and sick of game mechanics or draft dodging? And that's where everything started to connect for me, was when I thought of the word draft dodging. Drafting, it's a game mechanic. So instead of drafting your own hand, you could be drafting an action deck, but maybe together as a group or something like that. And then I kind of just went into it. On your turn, you're passed a hand of cards. You can take one and pass it, or you can add one to it. The idea is that you don't want certain decks to end up with you. At some point, players are going to end up pulling out of the draft, which could be good or bad, getting down to fewer and fewer players. And at one person, we either have somebody who's rewarded something because that was a good thing, or somebody's in trouble because that's a bad thing. And I don't know if that's been done already, where there's a draft where you sort of kind of escape the draft as the game goes on. So here's how I kind of figured it could happen. Let's say you have 3 cards in hand. On your turn, you're going to take one, a card from the hand, and place it in front of you. Or you're going to add a card to the hand from like a center pool of available cards. Maybe even like a little bit like deck building with, cards that are all available. And then you're going to pass the hand. Or you're going to reveal the hand and escape. So to escape, you might need like 3 cards that let you leave work for the day. So I started thinking about this as a workplace game. Cards in your hand are dreadful. They're work duties for the day. So I don't know, just thinking of office work, you got to make copies, you got to do this and that. When you take a card out of the hand, it means you have experience in that duty. So I take up making copies, put it in front of me. When you add one in, you might be hoping to add a sick card, which 3 of them you can escape. So you need 3 sick cards to call in sick for the day. But you're adding this in and you're passing it around, so you're not always going to be the one that has this hand. Someone else might get it with the sick cards and then be able to call in sick for the day. But you could also put in another duty that's not necessarily good for the next player. So, I've been working on making copies. This person has, no experience in meetings. I'm going to throw a meeting in there because it's kind of going to throw off their hand. When you get 3 of a duty in front of you, you excel at it and you can cash it in for something. Maybe a sick card. Maybe eliminate 3 other cards in a hand, something like that. Or what I thought was great was to allow you to draw 3. So you don't directly get the sick card, but you get to draw some cards and try to get the sick card. I said the idea is to work your butt off at proving you are sick, which is probably more work than if you just went to work. So my notes kind of end around there. I have another one little paragraph, but to kind of get more into my head, because I didn't get this out in the way that I wanted to, was that I wanted to see, I'm formulating this hand. I'm pulling stuff out of it. Every turn I get to draw a card and add to it and hope to get these sick cards so I can drop out. If you drop out, you're great. If you don't drop out, you might have to perform all the work that's in the hand, and that's bad. You don't want to have to perform, any work. You want to call in sick, and eventually you're going to call in sick, but maybe this is all the work you had to do up until you call in sick. So that's where I got with it, and I feel like I need to just sit on it. I need to see what it actually is and what I mean by all of it, and then just abstract it out to where it's not calling in sick. It's just a draft escape system where at some point you can escape the draft and run out with the hand, which is good, or you can escape a draft to make somebody else take a hand, which is bad. I just think that's an interesting take on some drafting. Last thing I wrote was I wanted to, is creating the hands of actions one at a time, then having players each choose to play an action. So a weird collaborative creation where we're all adding to these drafts, these hands that are drafted, and then at some point someone needs to kind of run through the actions of the hand. So you're building one that you might want one that's not so great, so somebody else will get it, but you might get it. I don't know. It's just thinking of drafting just because of the word draft dodging, which makes me think of avoiding duty. So that's where I'm at with this first episode back. Hopefully they will get better from here. I'll just get more comfortable with my daily notes. That was a hard word too. It's like a tone. It's not like a super inspiring one for me. But anyway, thank you for joining me in another episode of Design Diary. I'm back every day with this, and on Wednesdays it's going to be me and Rob Kramer. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.